Sports Squares is a fun betting game originally set up for the Super Bowl, but we're now using it for football and basketball games. Here's how to play Sports Squares. I'll start with one of the upcoming basketball games. Here we have two grids, and I'll start with the second grid because it's a little more clear. You can see that there's a 10 by 10 grid of squares with 100 squares total. Each column and row are numbered 0 to 9. The numbers correspond to the last digits of the team's score at the end of each quarter. On the screen here, the columns represent the Keplr score. If the score at the end of the quarter ends in 0, say they have 0 points or 10 or 20 or so on, the winning square will be in this column. The rows represent the Bucks score. If the Bucks score at the end of the quarter is, say, 2, meaning they have 2 points or 12 points or 52 points, the winning square will be in this row. Where the row and the column intersect is the winning square for that quarter. Let's open up a past game to see an example. Here's a game from last week between the Knicks and the Cavaliers. I'll go to grid 2 because again it's a little more clear. We can see that the score at the end of the first quarter was 28 Knicks, 19 Cavs. So let's look at the grid. The Knicks scored 28, so the winning row is row 8. The Cavs scored 19, so the winning column is 9. We can see that the intersection of these is the winner of quarter 1. There was one buyer of this square, so they won 20,000 Gelotto. This game was actually unique in that the third quarter score and the fourth and final score had the same last digits, so the buyer of that square actually won 60,000 Gelotto, 20,000 for the third quarter, and 40,000 for the final score. Looking at grid 1, you can see that all of the numbers are random. Grid 1 is basically a shot in the dark. You don't know the numbers for the square you're buying. You have to wait until the game is started and locked before the numbers are revealed. Let's look again at an upcoming game. Starting with grid 1, we see that there are no numbers assigned. This will be randomized when the game starts. Each square here costs 1,100 Gelotto, and you can see the possible payouts along the right side of the game. If I click on one of these, I put that square in my shopping cart. I can buy as many as I'd like, and I can select multiple at a time. I'll choose these two spots on grid 1, and I want to buy some spots on grid 2, so I'll flip over to that game. The site remembers the spots for grid 1, and I can flip back to verify or even change before I buy. On grid 2, if I have a feeling about certain scores, I can choose specific squares that represent the score that I'm guessing. In basketball, these scores are pretty random, so I'll just pick this square and I'll grab another close to it just to buy another. In football games, numbers like 4 and 7 are more common. So I have my 4 squares selected, and now I'll purchase them. You do need a bit of Juno in your wallet to pay for the transaction. Click the checkout button on the right side of the screen and approve the transaction fee. And that is it. Now enjoy the game.